Like several other features found in the EOS 40D, highlight tone priority first appeared on the EOS 1D Mark III. The aim of highlight tone priority is to shift the dynamic range of the sensor towards the highlight end. It effectively extends the range from 18% mid-tone grey to the highlights, and although it won't guarantee to stop blown highlights, it will provide more tonal gradation and smoother transitions between tones in bright areas. If you're a wedding photographer, this will prove especially useful as it will be able to record the subtle nuances of the bride's dress. If you do set highlight tone priority using custom function 2.3, the ISO range will be limited from ISO 200 to ISO 1600. The ISO speed indication on the camera will change as well. The zeros will be replaced by small zeros, so you have a quick visual cue to whether highlight tone priority is set or not. Many people think leaving highlight tone priority on all the time is a good idea. But in reality, since it shifts the dynamic range towards the highlights, it can cause more noise in shadow areas. As such, if you're shooting dark subjects or in low light conditions, you're better off turning highlight tone priority off to minimise image noise. Auto ISO is a new feature enabled on the EOS 40D in the creative zone modes, program, shutter priority, aperture priority, manual and ADEP. It allows the ISO speed to be set automatically by the camera, depending on the prevailing lighting conditions. To set Auto ISO, press the ISO button on the camera top plate and rotate the main control dial all the way to the left. With Auto ISO switched on, the camera will set ISO 400 as a default. In program, aperture priority and ADEP modes, the camera will set ISOs between 400 and 800 so that the resulting shutter speed will be fast enough to avoid camera shake. If ISO 400 is not slow enough to avoid overexposure, then the camera will set a lower ISO speed, down to ISO 100 if needed. In shutter priority mode, the camera will shift the ISO to avoid overexposure. This can be anywhere between ISO 100 and ISO 800. Finally, in manual mode, the ISO, when shooting with Auto ISO switched on, is locked at ISO 400. If you're certain you want a particular combination of shutter speed and aperture to get the shot you're after, this can be a very useful feature, especially since the high ISO noise performance of this camera is very good. You're unlikely to get unacceptable levels of image noise in your pictures with this feature set.